Right now, you're going to make a decision. In the next 10 seconds, raise one hand, either one, doesn't matter which, whenever you feel like it. Go ahead. I'll wait. Did you do it? Good. Now answer me this. When exactly did you decide? Not when your hand moved. Before that. The moment nothing became, I'm doing this now. Can you point to it? Here's the unsettling part. In a lab, we can point to it for you. And the point we'd point to is measurable several hundred milliseconds before you'd swear you decided anything at all. Welcome to one of the strangest results in the science of the mind. Because if a machine can see your decision before you do, whose decision was it? Act 1, the problem. Let's back up, because free will is one of those phrases everyone uses and almost nobody defines the same way. Ask a philosopher what it means and you'll usually get some version of this: the ability to have genuinely done otherwise. Not just, I could have raised my other hand if I'd wanted to. Obviously you could have if you'd wanted to. The real question is deeper. Could you have wanted to? Could the entire causal chain that produced your choice, your brain state, your mood, the exact neurons firing in the exact configuration, have gone differently with everything else held fixed? For most of history, this was a question you could only ask from an armchair. Descartes thought the mind was a separate, non-physical substance, exempt from the causal laws that push planets and boulders around, free precisely because it stood outside the machine. Spinoza thought that was wishful thinking. Everything, mind included, was one long, unbroken chain of cause and effect, and freedom was just not noticing your own chains. Then, in 1983, someone tried to actually test it. The experiment. His name was Benjamin Libet, a neuroscientist at UC San Francisco, and his setup was almost embarrassingly simple. He wired subjects up to an EEG, a cap that reads the electrical hum of the brain, and sat them in front of a clock with a dot sweeping around its face fast enough to track to a fraction of a second. Their instructions: flex your wrist whenever you feel the urge, and remember exactly where the dot was the moment you decided to move. 3 events, 3 timestamps. First, a slow build of electrical activity in the brain's motor areas, the readiness potential. Second, the subject's own reported moment of conscious decision. Third, the actual muscle movement. If free will worked the way it feels like it works, the order should be: decide, then brain prepares, then move. Conscious will in the driver's seat. That is not what Libet found. The readiness potential showed up first, consistently, reliably, about 350 milliseconds before people reported deciding anything. The brain, it seemed, was already building the movement before you had made up your mind. Consciousness wasn't issuing the order. It was reading a memo that had already been sent. Libet's own interpretation was more careful than the headlines that followed him for the next 40 years. He didn't think this killed free will outright. He proposed that although the brain initiates the action unconsciously, consciousness might still get a late veto, a window to cancel a movement already in motion. Free won't instead of free will. But even that softened version left something disturbing intact. The sense that the self isn't where the story starts. It's cast after the fact, as the author of a decision it merely witnessed. Act 3, the pushback. Naturally, scientists spent the next 4 decades trying to poke holes in this, and quite a few holes turned up. For one, that readiness potential might not be a decision signal at all. In 2012, neuroscientist Aaron Scherger offered a different reading. The brain has constant, random fluctuations in neural activity, ordinary background noise. When you're told to move whenever you feel like it, you're effectively waiting to catch one of those random upswings and calling it a decision. The readiness potential isn't the cause of the choice. It's closer to the tide that happened to be going out when you decided to look at the ocean. There's a second problem, arguably worse. Libet's experiment measures moments, not reasons. Deciding when to wiggle your wrist is about as morally weightless as decisions get. Nobody's court case, marriage, or life plan hinges on the millisecond timing of an arbitrary flex. Whatever's happening in that readiness potential, it's a long way from explaining why you chose your career, forgave your friend, or didn't cheat on your taxes. So Libet didn't settle anything. What he did was worse. In a way, he made the question unignorable. Even in this thin, stripped-down case, the felt experience of deciding turned out to lag behind something. Once you've seen that gap once, it's hard to fully unsee it. Act 4. What's actually at stake? Here's why this isn't just a cute lab trick. The whole architecture of blame, legal, moral, personal, leans on the assumption that people could have done otherwise. We send people to prison partly on the logic that they chose the crime and could have chosen differently. We forgive people who couldn't help it. A seizure, a psychotic episode, a gun to the head, precisely because we intuit their will wasn't in the driver's seat. The entire distinction between an excuse and a confession is a claim about free will. So if it turns out nobody could have done otherwise, that every choice you've ever made was the output of prior causes stretching back before you were born, does blame become a category error? This is the position neuroscientist Robert Sapolsky has pushed hard in recent years. Trace any behavior back far enough: genes, hormones, childhood, culture, even the state of your gut that morning, and there's no gap left for a free-floating you to have inserted a different choice. Philosophers who disagree tend to split two ways. The hard determinists mostly agree with Sapolsky on the physics, and bite the bullet on the ethics too. Retribution stops making sense, but treatment, deterrence, and rehabilitation still do. You don't need could have done otherwise to justify keeping a dangerous person away from others. You just need will probably do it again. The compatibilists, a camp that includes most working philosophers historically, argue the whole framing is a trick question. Freedom was never about escaping causation. It was about which kind of causation is doing the pushing. A choice caused by your own desires, reasoning, and values is free. One caused by a gun to your head or a tumor or someone else's hand on the wheel is not. On this view, Libet's readiness potential isn't a threat to free will at all. It's just what your own desires deciding something looks like from inside an EEG cap. Of course, the choice has a physical prelude. What else would it have? Act 5. Where that leaves you. Notice that none of this actually resolves anything, and that might be the most honest place to end. Maybe you're a fully caused physical system whose sense of authorship is a useful story your brain tells itself half a second late. Or maybe author was never the right word to begin with. Maybe you just are the whole tangled prior chain, genes and upbringing and this exact video included, and asking whether that chain is really you is like asking whether an ocean is really the water. Either way, here's the strange comfort. You're going to keep making choices tomorrow regardless of which answer is true. You'll still deliberate, still feel torn, still change your mind. The debate doesn't pause your life while it gets settled, because it never gets settled. It just clarifies what you were doing this whole time. So next time you catch yourself mid-decision, reaching for your phone, biting back a reply, choosing the harder right thing over the easier wrong one, ask the question again. Not, did I really choose that? But, what does it mean for a 3-pound electrochemical machine made of atoms that don't care about anything to become something that cares about everything? That might be the more interesting mystery. Free will was never really the finish line. It's the doorway. If this kind of thing does something for you, if you like having your intuitions quietly dismantled, there's more where this came from. Subscribe if you want to keep pulling this thread. And tell me in the comments, compatibilist, hard determinist, or still deciding? No pressure. Apparently you were always going to answer exactly the way you're about to.